All right, all right. Welcome in, everyone. And if you're joining us watching the recording, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. And if you're joining us a little bit late, it's okay. I'll be sending this recording to everyone. So I am genuinely pumped for tonight because what we're about to do is not just a webinar. This is a live workshop. So we're not going to sit here and look at slides for 45 minutes and then you go home and do nothing with it, right? Tonight we build live on my screen and hopefully you're building alongside with me at home tonight. So by the time we're done tonight, you're going to have a custom branded content operating system built specifically for your business, covering every platform your leads live on, done before you close this tab. My name is Sean Lewis, and I am the founder of the Small Biz Book Club and Leverage and Grow. The whole reason this community exists is because I got tired of watching smart business owners learn everything and build nothing. So tonight, and with these calls, that changes. So if you're live in the chat, drop your name and your city in the chat so we can acknowledge you and thank you for being here. And if most of the people watching this are watching the recording, so I'm going to keep it moving and go from there. So I want to ask you honestly, before we get into the build, how many of you have sat down to create content and just froze? Honestly, like it's okay. So I know I have. And the thing is, you know your business, you know what you do, you know who you help, but you open Instagram or you open your email or you open wherever your content is getting ready to get pushed through and you have absolutely nothing. And it's not necessarily because you're not creative. It's not because you don't have anything to say, is because you have no system, right? The blank screen is an infrastructure problem, not a creativity problem. So you don't need more inspiration. You need a machine that tells you what to work on the moment you open it. And that's what we're building tonight. So let me be very specific about what tonight actually is, because the word calendar undersells this significantly. So we are not building a spreadsheet, some spreadsheet that you might fill out, once a week or whatever. We're not building a template with blank boxes. We're not building a content calendar. We are building a custom branded app specific to your business that covers every channel your leads live on. So you're going to build this around where your people are, and it's going to hold you accountable and give you even better frameworks to get in front of them and to nurture them to where you want them to go. Organized by platform, organized by content type, with hook frameworks built in, with to-do list built right in, with your business name on it, branded the way you want it to be branded. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, your community, email, SMS, live sessions, every single one of these channels in one system built in under 30 minutes. So, and you can also leave with it tonight on your phone. So that's the cool thing about what we're building. Like, we're actually implementing this and it's a game changer. It removes any constraint from what you want to get out to your business clients and customers from your head into the social media platforms and the other channels that you have. So now I really want to connect to something bigger. Because if you've been in any of our Thursday sessions, I'm a big fan of Alex Hormozi, and you probably heard me talk about $100 million leads by Mr. Hormozi himself. And Hormozi says that there are only 4 ways to get leads on this planet. And these are the 4 basic ways, but he also goes into like ways to add leverage to these 4 main ways. But you have warm outreach, you have cold outreach, you have free content, and then you have paid ads. That's it. So, and then you have these core four on steroids, which we'll go over Thursday in the book breakdown for $100 million leads. But these are the main 4 ways to get leads for your business. Most small business owners are accidentally maybe using one, right? Maybe two, maybe two. I don't want to sell anyone short. And then they're wondering why their lead flow is inconsistent. So your content operating system is going to map content to all 4. So every platform you use feeds one of these channels. So Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, that's your free content channel. Your DMs and LinkedIn, that's cold outreach. Your community post and your SMS messages, that's warm outreach. And everything you create in this system can become ads when you're ready to scale. So you organize with the freebies and then you scale it with the ad content. So you really don't want to even talk about ads until you have this infrastructure built, right? And then so you have one system, 4 channels, warm, cold, free content, paid ads, every lead source covered. And that's what we're building tonight. So let me show you exactly what's inside this thing so you know what you're walking out with. So component 1 is a multi-channel content dashboard. So every platform you use in one view. Nothing lives in a separate tab or a different notebook or a sticky note, that you'll end up losing. Right. And then component 2 is embedded to-do list per content type, because, the process or the workflow for sending an email that gets a high open rate isn't the same for creating a reel that gets people to watch past the first 3 seconds. right? And so you open the app and it tells you what to work on so that you're just basically plugging in the topics that you want to talk about. So it's not a general to-do list, it's specific tasks by platform, by content format, right? And then component three is the $100 million hooks framework built into every post format. Alex Hormozi breaks down exactly how to start a piece of content so that it stops the scroll. And that framework can be baked into every single content type in your operating system. So now you're not trying to have to remember, like, what did he say here or what did he do here? It's actually baked into, like, okay, I'm working on a hook for this idea because I want to lead them to this lead magnet or this special offer that I have. So it's easier to construct these pieces of content to put it out and get the engagement that you want. And then, the system kind of nurtures everything from there. So, and then you have component four, which is weekly and monthly planning view. So you always know what to do. You always know what's coming, and no more realizing like on Thursday night that you haven't posted in 2 weeks. Probably wouldn't take you 2 weeks to realize that, but this is something that really holds you accountable. And if you have a team, you can basically have one centralized brain, and it's not yours. Like you can take everything from your brain, put it into an operating system to start plugging in the pieces to really grow from the top end of your funnel, right? So, and you can run the entire operation from your phone, and this is your app. So that's what we're building, and let's get into it. So we have two tools. That's all we need tonight. This is where I'm going to so okay, tool one is Claude, right? This is where we're going to write our instructions. And I played around with ChatGPT for a long time, and I've switched everything over to Claude. And I'll tell you, like, it is a 9 day difference. Like when I was with ChatGPT, it felt like, I was riding good. I was riding in a Hyundai. Like imagine that, right? And then when I switched everything over to Claude, it's like going from driving a Hyundai to like a Rolls Royce. And it's just so much more thorough, so much more intuitive, and it can pretty much do everything you need it to do. So in this particular case, we're going to use it to write our instructions. So Claude AI is going to take the plain English and turn it into something real. So you don't need to know prompt engineering, no degree required, none of that. We're going to write our prompt together in just a few minutes. And then tool two is Leverage and Grow AI Studio. So this is where we paste those instructions and the studio builds the actual app. So you don't touch any code. You don't have to configure anything technical. You paste and you build. Like we're literally living in the days of like thought. You have the idea, so you can go from thought to like real life in like seconds. And so these workshops are helping us like go from what ideas we want to manifest into reality as fast as possible with like guidelines, right? So Claude writes the recipe, and Leverage and Grow AI Studio cooks the meal. So if you have if you have your Leverage and Grow account open, that's what we're going to be using tonight. So follow along, and that'll kind of help you build in real time. And so if you have questions at the end, I can answer them for you as we get going. So before we open Claude, I need three things from you, just three. And these are things you probably already think about, but the more clear we can get on these things, the better you can reach them. I want you to actually think about these things right now and drop them in the chat if you want feedback. So the first thing I want you to think about is your ideal customer, not your target market, one specific person. Maybe you give them a name. Maybe it's a 38-year-old woman who owns a hair salon in Houston and loses clients to competitors with more Google reviews. You want to get that specific. And the more specific your ideal customer, the more powerful your content operating system becomes. And then input two, which is your three content pillars. These are the three topics you know so well you could teach them in your sleep. So for us at the Small Biz Book Club, it's business books because we're learning right from the source, right? And the frameworks behind them. And then we have systems and automations with Leverage and Grow and AI tools for small business owners. So think about what are yours? Like, what are the topics that you can teach in your sleep that people don't necessarily know, but these are the things that people would be attracted to you for. We just have to get them from out of your brain and in front of them via content, right? And so maybe you drop those in the chat. And then input three is the channels, your channel mix. So looking at the core four, which channels are you covering? Instagram and Facebook for free content, DMs for cold outreach, SMS for warm outreach. Maybe some of you got the text message that just went out. That was a warm outreach approach. And then, so from there, think about that for your business and how you want to get in front of your potential engaged leads and tell me your primary platforms. I mean, if you don't want to tell me, you can write them down, right? And then you're going to paste them into the prompt that I'm going to provide in about 90 seconds. So here's the prompt. And this is the entire engine your content operating system is going to be built from, like this prompt. And before we move on, I want to be clear about what this actually builds. This is not a content plan. Like, this is not 30 days of content for your business. This is not a Google Doc. This is not a spreadsheet you forget about in 3 days. This is a real functioning app branded to your business that you and your team open every single week or every single day to know exactly what to post, where to post it, and how to make it without starting from scratch every time. So you get to fill in your things, your business name, your ideal customer, your three pillars, your brand colors. And that's it. And that's what we're building tonight. So you can watch me fill it in for our example. So it's pretty cool. So tonight example that I'm going to build a content operating system for is Beef and Bun Barbecue right here in Houston. So real Houston barbecue spot right here on West Fuquay. And I'll be honest, this one's pretty personal. So growing up, this is one place that me and my dad used to go to a lot together. Real brisket, real baked potatoes, old school Houston. If you know, you know, right? So we're not building this from some made up coffee shop. This is we're going to build this for a real business that I actually care about, right? And so step one is going to be watch me fill in the prompt. I've already went through like filling in the 3 pillars for this particular business. And so I'll share that on my screen now. So when you're watching this recording, you can just go through the previous slide and answer these questions, right? For each of these things that you need to fill in order to create this custom app. But so the prompt is to build me a fully functional content operating system as a real web app for Beef and Bun Barbecue. My business is Beef and Bun Barbecue, no frills, Houston barbecue, joint serving brisket, chopped beef, yada, yada, yada. My ideal customer, my content pillars, my channel mix, all the things we just talked about. So build this app with these exact features: a weekly calendar view, a task detail and side panel. So when any content card is clicked, a slide-in panel opens on the right showing the content title, the platform, all these things that kind of help us construct our content to put it out and not feel anxiety because maybe we're missing something, right? So, and then we have a production checklist. So these things have been, when we really dissect a lot of the books and frameworks that we go through in the club, instead of trying to remember how to implement these, we can implement this right into the app. And so that's what's cool, is that you're not putting content out without forgetting things. You're literally going down the list of like, okay, I'm putting out an email for my community. I need a really good hook for my subject. I need a really good opener, and I need a call to action. And for email, it needs to be structured this way. So by embedding this into our content operating system, you now have a workflow that you just go through for each of these content types. Right. And you're going to see how cool it comes together when we do this. Right. And so that'll be step 2. I'm going to copy this entire thing right into the vibe coder. And then step 3, I'm going to hit the build button. And then step 4, we'll look at it together. So I'm just going through like what we're going to do here next. And so you can kind of see how simple it is. And so this is Beef and Buns. This is the business, right? They don't even have a website, right? So I just want to pick a real business that you can kind of see like they could actually benefit from this, because this is their only way of getting customers. They don't really do Instagram. They don't have any presence outside of that. So if your business is similar to them, like no online presence outside of Google reviews, then like something like this could be an absolute game changer as you just decide to start to play the content game. So from here, we're going to go right inside of the studio, and you can see my screen. I'm going to paste in our prompt and I'm going to hit go. So right now it's taking in our prompt and it's basically doing all the coding for us. So that's exactly what vibe coding is. You can basically build anything through natural language. Instead of taking these complex classes on learning how to code, you can take your natural language, which you have all of these different large language models, and use that to create real workable apps, websites, funnels, landing pages in seconds with clear instructions. And so I want to remind you that like this is version 1, right? So anytime I build anything or vibe code anything, you just know like the first version isn't going to be perfect. You know, you're going to have to iterate until you like it or until you love like what you built. But like the process of iterating it is so easy. It's basically, if you can give instructions to your child or to your loved ones, like you can give instructions to this vibe coder. And so think about this practice makes you really get clear on what you want. And a lot of people could benefit from this because there's so many things that go on inside of a business owner's mind that we don't really get clear and say, okay, like what things do I want true for me right now? And so even exercises like this let you know, okay, well, I know all these things are important. All these things are important. But if everything's important, nothing's important. So with this, it tells us, okay, if nobody knows about our business, when we create this, if no one knows about our business, then we don't exist. So this is absolutely the most important thing because we have to let people know we're in business, right? And so in little less than, what is that, 3 minutes, it built version 1, right? And I'll say with this, so you click on a content title, it's okay. This is a good version 1. So you have the slider task that opens up. It tells you, you have the checklist on the side. You have all these different things. And let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. So this is a good start, I would say. But I kind of show you that once you iterate on this and we add in more of the frameworks that you want in your workflow for each channel, how this can evolve. So this is one that we built out for one of our partners. And you can kind of see the difference in this one with one prompt and this one with multiple prompts. So she's on Instagram, she's doing carousels, she's doing threads, and she's doing voice notes for warm outreach, right? And so if she clicks on any one of these, she has the content name, then the framework for the hook. And so label hooks, these are right from these different, these are right from playbooks on how to create really good content. So instead of having to go to the source and then come back and then do your content, you can embed it right into a functional operational system. And so when you think about this, like, okay, you sit down and you say, okay, well, it's Wednesday and I need to create a reel for my business. What type of reel do I want to put out? Then you can say, okay, well, let's do a list for the hook. And then it says, okay, promise a specific number of things. Example, 3 reasons beauty pros keep losing clients, and none of them are your prices. So that's the hook. And so you sit down and you say, okay, how do I want to execute this? And then you choose the framework for the body of whatever piece of content you're about to put out. And then what type of call to action you want to have. So we're still iterating on hers, but like you can kind of think about how easy this makes putting out content. And so the thing that I know, and then most people online are telling you, is that content is king. But then right now, if you can put out more content, you're basically sending soldiers out into the social media land space to bring them back into your ecosystem to do business with you. So this helps you remove that constraint of, okay, well, I don't know what type of content to put out, right? And then, so with this particular content operating system, she wanted to like track what each conversion would mean for her business. So if she makes a sale, she has like the actual metrics of revenue built right in. And like that's so cool to see the direct correlation of inputs and outputs. What I would add to this one is that she doesn't right now have email, and that's one of the like best channels to really grow an audience, to nurture them, because with these channels you're really dependent on the algorithm. With email, with your own community, you're like, these are people that gave you their information and want to hear from you, and so you can send them an email and they can choose to open it versus the algorithm choosing to put your content in front of them. So I really love email as a channel to make sure that it's on here so you can really nurture your client base. And so this is hers, and I mean it really dumps down the content creation process. Is beautiful. And then this is our internal content operating system. So we have about 4 or 5 brands under here, and we Bob coded this same process I just walked you through. And then when you go through and click on one of the content titles, it's the same thing. We just go through the checklist of creating this piece of content. We actually linked in a place to like for Notion. So like for each piece of content, maybe we want to go deeper on the things that we're doing, and it opens a Notion doc right up based off of like, okay, well, let's go deeper in this particular piece of content versus, just having everything right here. So this is the operating system, but we can go deeper in the workflows. And so this is important because this is the foundation before you start to scale everything with paid ads. So with no structure like this, you try to go put fuel with no structure, you're going to just burn money. So any questions on this? So, I mean, I'm kind of addicted to like what is happening right now in AI and all these tools that are pretty much allowing small business owners to build without the high ticket to build things that they need for the businesses. So this is the app that we live coded, in under 3 minutes. This is an app that has been iterated on for about 2 to 3 days, right? And then this is an app that has been iterated on for about 2 to 3 weeks. So you can see the difference in just the detail. And so when we scroll down here, this is kind of how we're tracking our ad creation process. And so when we have our workers come in, or we have people that are doing contract work for us, they're just going through this workflow. And we literally have like the frameworks of playbooks that allow us to build and create really good creative based off of the frameworks and based off of the coaching and things that we pay for without having to go back and like check our notes. It's built right into our operating system. So it's super cool, super cool. So I want to make sure you understand what this system actually does and what it doesn't do, because that distinction matters a lot. So the content operating system does not write your content for you. You still have to bring the expertise. But I'll say with all these large language models, like you can actually put the content out, have the assistance of the large language models like Claude, like ChatGPT, like Microsoft Copilot, help you increase your expertise, and you bring the voice, you bring the human side of things. You bring the real stories from running your business. And what the operating system does is run the operation, help you organize what needs to happen. So without it, you stare at a blank screen every time you sit down to create content, and you end up posting randomly across whatever platform you remembered that day. And then you forget entire channels exist. And what happens is you end up, starting over from scratch every single month, and you have no idea what's actually working. So with the operating system, you open the app and it tells you exactly what to work on. So we know we need to send this email on this day. We need to create this reel on this day. We need to, send out our community posts. We need to send out our SMS. And like the structure behind that has workflows built right into each of those content tabs. And so you get to post strategically across all of your lead channels and not just the ones you remember. And then every platform has a task waiting on you or for your team. And so what happens is the system rolls forward automatically. So you knocked out last week, And then you move forward to the next week. Now, you have to play that game of letting people know about your business all over again. And so you can see exactly what you've done and what's coming next. And so this is the difference between having a content strategy and actually executing one with frameworks that are working from all the people that we see executing at a high level online, right? That's the beauty of like this community is taking the frameworks from these books and actually applying them. So this is application in motion. If that makes sense. So, like I said, the content operating system gives you the structure. Your voice gives it life. And there's a very specific difference between what AI produces and what sounds like you. I call it robot voice versus the human voice. Robot voice says, here are 5 things for growing your Instagram, right? You can tell someone's reading. But the human voice says, I grew my Instagram by doing one thing differently, and here's exactly what I did. The robot voice asks for a sale in the second paragraph, but the human voice gives value for 3 paragraphs before it mentions anything you can buy. And so when you take that, you have the system, you have the large language models, you make it human through structure. Like this is where you start to see things compound for you. So the framework is the AI's job, the voice is yours. So when you get your content operating system up and going, think about your story, your expertise, and how you can start getting surgical with the message that you want to put out, right? Any questions so far? I know I kind of moved fast, so I apologize. All right. So now you have a system, and let me tell you exactly how to use it every single week so that it actually runs, right? Monday morning or whatever day of the week, right? You have a structure. So Monday morning, Tuesday morning, whatever day, at least one day out of the week. You have 3 steps, non-negotiable. Step one, check the numbers. Open your content operating system. Maybe you vibe code in like actual metrics on specific content. So instead of having to go to this platform and then gauging it, you can vibe code it right into your content operating system and look at what happened last week. What reached people? What got engagement? What actually drove someone to take action? You're trying to find patterns. And once you can identify patterns, you can predict patterns. But if you can identify patterns, you're just doing things and not really having any information being digested to take better actions and make better decisions. So whatever worked, we want to do more of that. Whatever someone didn't respond to or nobody responded to, we want to adjust it or cut it. Okay. And this allows you to like make those decisions a lot easier. Then step two, you want to batch your work. So your content operating system tells you what to create each week. And then now you sit down and create all of it at once. And then with the system on the back end, you can schedule everything. So not only do you create your content operating system, like what you strategically want to put out, but now the system on the back end can deliver it for you. And then you're done. You don't have to think about content again until maybe next Monday. I don't know how far out you posted these things. And then step three is post and reply. So stick to the schedule that you've created inside your operating system and then reply to every single comment and DM you get, like every single one, right? And the biggest thing is consistency without engagement is just like broadcasting into the void. And what we all know is that the algorithm rewards engagement. And so I think that's important. But the most important thing is that your future customers notice the engagement. They notice she owns a business. She's like actively going in and engaging with everyone. All right. And so you're playing this visibility game to get customers. And I think we lose that when we say like, oh, I got to go create content. Like the attitude should be, I get to create content. And now you have something, a tool that can help you do it a lot easier. So you have 3 steps every Monday or whatever day of the week you want to do this. Your entire content operation structured and handled in your own branded app. So any questions on that? Okay. So before I let you go tonight, I'm going to make you an offer and I'm going to be very direct about it. And you know how to build this. And I didn't really hold anything back. I don't really, I heard a coach say before that if you think that you're giving away too much information, you don't know enough. And that really hit home because like I used to gatekeep information, but no, when I look at it, there's so much information for us to come across and to share that now I get excited when I come across something that I can share with people. And like, whether there's one person on this call or 1,000 people on this call, I'm going to do these calls because I get to interact with information and share with people and then test it for my businesses. So you know how to build this. Like didn't want to hold anything back. You create the prompt, you iterate, you make it better over time, right? So you watch me do it live. You have the prompt, you have the framework, and you can absolutely go do this yourself tonight. But I also know some of you are sitting there thinking, Sean, I run a business. I don't really have time to build this, even though like it's not that time consuming. It's just you have to kind of know what to look for. And maybe you say, I want it done and I want it done right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to say tonight only. We're taking 10 business owners and building their custom content operating system for them with them. So fully branded, all 4 core channels mapped, the $100 million hooks framework embedded into every content type. So when you open up, I'm sending an email, I'm creating a reel, or I'm making a community post, or I'm sending out SMS blast, like, you have the frameworks to make sure you're not missing anything before you hit publish, right? And then you have the weekly and monthly views. We make it mobile friendly, pretty much just like ours. And for the first 10 people who text the word content to 713-576-5192, we are dropping a $50 gift card on your build out. First 10, that's it. So it's not a soft close. I just want to, help people accomplish their goals. And that's the whole point of the Small Business Book Club. Like, a lot of this information takes us time to put together, takes time to make sure that you can understand it. So at the back end of it, it's like, okay, I don't just want you to consume information. I actually want you to be able to do something with it. So when we hit 10, this offer is gone, but you'll still be able to get the build out. You just won't have the $50 gift card that you can apply to your custom content operating system. And we build it, you run your business. And then so on Monday morning, you open the app and that app tells you exactly what to do, where to show up. And you don't have any more blank screens, no more guessing, no more inconsistency, no more, content blocks. So if that's something that sounds good to you, text content to that number. And I don't have any questions in the chat. That's a wrap. So you came in tonight not knowing what a content operating system was. And I'll tell you, it's pretty proprietary to us because I had to like come up with a name of like, how could we do more content, right? So came up with Content OS. And so you're leaving with the framework, the prompt, and a Monday morning routine or operating procedure that runs your content operation every single week. So if you text content tonight, someone from our team is going to reach out to you later on this week. We'll get your business details, your content pillars, your ideal customer, and we'll build your custom branded content operating system and have it ready for you. And so I probably should have added in here some consulting because I know that like people still need help like implementing, even though the app kind of helps you walk through the consulting piece. So my thing is I want to make sure that you have the tools you need to actually do what you're trying to do, which is put out more content. So the consultant kind of be built in, but I just want to say that. So if you didn't text content tonight, you still have this recording. I'll be sending it out to everyone. So go build it and then come back Thursday and tell me what you built. And so speaking of Thursday, we go live again with our $100 million leads book breakdown. And I'll tell you, this entire series of books have changed my life and my perception of how I see business and how I do business. So I really recommend coming back Thursday and just listening in and letting this information change your paradigm on business. So we're going to cover Hormozi's Core 4. We kind of touched on that tonight. We are also going to talk about lead magnets. We're going to talk about the difference between a lead and an engaged lead. And pretty much that whole system is going to go hand in hand with what we built tonight. So now not only do you have the tool, but you have the framework behind the tool. So, and this is all for your business. This is all for you to be able to execute as a founder for your business. So, if there are no questions, I don't see any questions. I'll see you Thursday. So good night, everyone. Go build something. Go help someone.